Hello everyone, welcome back. I hope your day is starting off just great. It was budget day yesterday, and you know what they say? Budget day is the day the ducks come home to roost. And that's why I'm sharing this pic with you. Well, actually, those are not ducks. Those are Canada geese. A beautiful pic of these Canada geese posted by Lisa on the I Choose Canada group. These geese are living on Dufferin Island in Niagara Falls, and I think they're going to live there all winter. Even the geese are choosing Canada these days and not migrating down south to the United States. Well done, Canada geese. Well done. Our Prime Minister refers to this budget as a transformative budget with generational type investment that will set the path for Canada over the next 50 years. Now, don't panic. In this video, I'm not going to go over the whole budget. That would be impossible. This thing is thick. It's as thick as a phone book, if you're old enough to know what a phone book is. What I want to do is just spend about 45 seconds going over the highlights of the budget and then zero in on one particular thing that I think is brilliant. That's probably the one thing that will result in the most important change that I see going forward. So just as a high level here, budget highlights taken from a CBC summary. And these just quote the numbers that are in the budget. 141 billion more spending over the next 5 years, offset by 51.2 billion in cuts and savings. A $78 billion deficit this fiscal year, which is a high number, but lower than some economists had expected. Slashes in bureaucracy by nearly 40,000 jobs through buyouts and attrition. That's of civil service jobs, government jobs. 51 billion for infrastructure to spur development. Major projects like high-speed rail between Toronto and Montreal, new ports, carbon capture and storage face likely approval in the coming months. An $81 billion funding package for the Canadian Armed Forces. That's a huge increase in military spending. Immigration getting slashed, with temporary residents like students and foreign workers to be cut by nearly 50%. And finally, the previously proposed oil and gas emissions cap could be scrapped. And this says could be because it requires the provinces and industry to agree to a plan of lowering emissions to net zero by 2050, instead of what had been the plan to decrease to zero emissions by 2035. So there's a lot of different things in this budget. It is a huge budget. Many of those things are things that should please some of the premiers like Daniel Smith with the emissions cap removal, the Conservative Party and all Canadians really on increasing defense spending, many different things in there. But I won't go through all of them in detail today. And I urge all of you that if you want to learn more about the budget, I will post the link of it in the video description, the actual Government of Canada website where they list the budget. The actual, you could read it yourself. It'll take you 5 or 6 hours if you have the time. But you can read it yourself. I urge you not to just make up your mind on the budget by reading a one-sentence summary or a slogan in response to the budget or a 35-second TikTok video about it, okay? So I'll leave that link in the video description. But now let me talk about one particular thing in this budget that is really going to have a big effect going forward for Canada, for attracting investment in Canada, that I think is one of the most important things that I wanted this budget to achieve. Most of the talk on social media and the radio and TV is going to be about the headline numbers, right? You'll read headlines like this on CBC, a $78 billion deficit, public service cuts, new tax measures. On the Financial Post, Canada Budget 2025 offers billions in tax incentives to spur investment in economy. On Yahoo Finance, federal budget forecasts $78 billion deficit as Liberals shift spending to capital projects. On Bloomberg Business News, federal government plans tax changes to enable $1 trillion boost to economy. From the Investment Executive, budget's productivity super deduction looks to boost capital investment. Ooh, I like the sound of that. Productivity super deduction. What is that? That's the thing I want to discuss. So here I am on the Government of Canada website where they post the budget. And I'll leave this link for you so you can go and read it. And if you scroll down, you will actually find this super deduction. And I'm not kidding, it's actually called the productivity super deduction. To boost productivity and attract investment, this new government is introducing a productivity super deduction, a set of enhanced tax incentives covering all new capital investment that allows businesses to write off a larger share of the cost of these investments right away. And these are a list of the things that companies can write off immediately. Immediate expensing, i.e. 100% first year write-off of manufacturing or processing machinery and equipment. Number 2, immediate expensing of clean energy generation and energy conservation equipment and zero emission vehicles. Number 3, immediate expensing of productivity enhancing assets, including patents, data network infrastructure, and computers. Number 4, immediate expensing of capital expenditures for scientific research and experimental development. But here's the big one. Immediate expensing for manufacturing and processing buildings and accelerated capital cost allowances for low carbon liquefied natural gas facilities. Budget 2025 proposes to introduce immediate expensing for manufacturing or processing buildings that are acquired on or after budget day and that are used for manufacturing or processing before 2030. Now that may not sound so sexy and there's no big number associated with that, so I think it's gone underreported, but let me explain what that means. Immediate expensing for the cost of buying a manufacturing building or a processing facility, and when I say those two things, think of a manufacturing building like an auto plant, a processing facility like a critical minerals processing facility. These are big things. These represent the biggest costs that companies would have to make if they want to move their manufacturing or their processing to Canada, sometimes in the order of billions of dollars. And what this does, it's a very clever way of lowering taxes without actually lowering taxes. Let me try and explain that. Because it's a simple concept in economics that if you lower taxes, that acts as a stimulus and it gives incentives for businesses to locate to Canada. But if you just lower taxes across the board, it costs a lot of money because the government loses revenue. So if you specifically want to target new businesses to come to Canada to start, for example, buying processing plants and manufacturing plants in Canada to say, I don't know, manufacture some of those tens of billions of dollars worth of military hardware that we're going to buy by increasing our military spending. Or, for example, if you want to attract a new auto company to come to Canada to set up shop, in order to get that new investment here, big manufacturing and big processing, maybe a new critical minerals processing facility. These are all things that would require billions of dollars of initial investment. And here's the catch. If you make that investment deductible when that company starts up production, if they can write off all the expenses they made right away, they can emerge for the first few years, their history in Canada, as basically paying no tax. That will give them a huge incentive to come here and set up in the first place, knowing that they'll recapture all their investment immediately rather than having to deduct those things slowly over years, which is how it normally works. This is brilliant because, in effect, you're giving companies a tax deduction to come here, but it's not hitting government revenues right now. What it's doing is you come here and set up your business and spend all the money. We get the economic engine going, and then they get a break once they start production. So the government is foregoing collecting that tax when they get going until basically they recoup all their money back, and then they become taxable. And this gives us a massive advantage now compared to the United States. And I'm going to show you a couple of charts here that are taken right from the budget document. So this first chart here shows the effect of all those immediate expensing points that I read you, all 5 or 6 of them that I read to you. It gives Canada, in the black here, it decreases Canada's marginal effective tax rate in a percentage from 15.6 to 13.2 on average. And this is the marginal effective tax rate for all other countries in the G7. That gives us a very competitive marginal effective tax rate, even compared to the United States, which is sitting at 17.6%. And in this chart, they show our marginal effective tax rate compared to the United States in all these different sectors. And I want to point to the fourth one from the left, manufacturing and processing. Before this budget, our marginal effective tax rate was 8.6%. But with this productivity super deduction, you can see that the marginal effective tax rate has dropped to 0.4%. compared to the United States at 12.1%. So it's telling people if you want to come and set up manufacturing or processing in Canada with this new productivity super deduction, you'll pay close to 0% tax rate. And that is specifically targeting the United States, which of course is making the case that, well, if you set up production outside the United States, we're going to charge a 25% tariffs on those products if they're imported into the United States. We're going to make US citizens pay a tax to make it harder for you to sell to us. Well, Canada's saying, well, you can come here and set up manufacturing and processing and you'll pay almost no tax. And you don't have to sell the products to the United States because we have billions of dollars of new infrastructure spending and major nation building projects ready to be approved that you can manufacture products for us. So this is giving a huge incentive for new manufacturing to come to Canada. So when I saw that phrase, productivity super deduction, in the headline of one of those articles, I thought, well, here we go again, more inflammatory rhetoric. And then I thought, well, why don't I just go and read the budget myself, which I did. And it's true. That's exactly what they called it. And after reading it and studying it, I realized that it's just a very clever way of lowering taxes without getting hit by the shortfall in revenue right away. It's basically an incentive. Canada's open for business. We want you to come here and manufacture. And it's very targeted because it's going to be targeted on the manufacturing of all the new things we'll need for these nation building projects that will get approved. Expansion of the Montreal port facility, building a fast rail line between Toronto and Montreal, upgrading the port in Churchill, Manitoba, accelerating critical minerals mining and processing in Northern Ontario. All of these things are going to need new companies to set up manufacturing and processing facilities. And now they have the incentive of being able to do that with effectively a 0% tax rate until they get their investment back. So this has the potential for being, and I'll coin the phrase here, we have a productivity super deduction that's going to lead to super stimulus. Don't Google that separately. You might come up with a lot of weird search results. It's targeted and it's coordinated with everything else we're doing. It's like one more piece of a large puzzle that we're putting together. That's all I got for you today. I just wanted to zero in on one thing that I thought was super important that will probably go underreported. Once again, I will link to the full budget in my video description. If you have time, have a read through it. If you've already absorbed some other information on the media or news, share your comments in the comment section. I'm interested in hearing from you. And if you've enjoyed this video and you're enjoying my content, please subscribe to the channel and keep the numbers growing. And if you really want to support the channel on a monthly basis, consider becoming a channel member by clicking the join button. Have a fantastic rest of your day, everyone. And yes, we had to switch back to the Canada geese picture because I just feel so satisfied knowing that they're going to stay home. They're staying home for the winter. They're not flying down to the United States. That just makes me feel so good. If you see some Canada geese while you're out skating on this lake when it freezes over, just be really nice to them. Give them some bread and don't feed the wildlife. What am I saying? Don't feed the wildlife, but respect the geese. I love the geese. I'll catch you all on the next one.